Form 1 or the ones who are in secondary school. So the question that we should be asking is, these secondary schools that they go to, they must be public schools. They don't give you that money if you are attending a private school. So we've witnessed unfairness in distribution of this money. So if the government is really genuine, why do they need a kitty money to pay in their own institution? These schools belongs to the government. Why can't they just say now, if you are poor, they just allow you to get in these schools and learn, so that they can pay that money direct from the government, national government account. They can take it to the school account direct. Why must it be under an MP? So the MP has to come up with some forms to vet and say, oh, this is poor, this is 10% poor, this is 15% poor, is when they now say, okay, we are giving you 5,000. I think it can make sense if they say this school has got a capacity of 40 students. Let these 40 students, the ones who are poor, learn for free. If the capacity is small, they can use money to build some extra classes, to employ some extra teachers. Like what Uzalenda said is happening in the US. In America, you don't pay fee. The government pays teachers. The government builds classes. The government equips these schools. It can also happen in Kenya, because even these schools, the board of governors, they don't equip these schools. They like most schools are in some state that if you even look at the classrooms, you will really wonder if this school is having some management. They don't need to, pupils pay fee each and every year. Some even contribute for buses. But do you see anything happening? Do you see some infrastructural development in these schools? It is not there. So we just need a responsible government to ensure that there's a responsibility in these schools. Then the role of the kids and the parents is now to take their kids to school.
Oh, thank you. Now I get you. Okay, on the issue of the king coming to Kenya, I don't think if this government can ask for apology to those people, because we have seen for those old trips that the president have been going outside, ni mtu ambaye amekuwa akiportray picha kuwa he's a good man, ni mtu ambaye anataka ani mtu anatakia mazuri Africa, mtu ambaye anatakia mazuri mbele ya those other countries. He always try to paint a picture that he's a good man, he's a good leader, he's a person who knows how to do things. But now when it comes to the king coming in Kenya, I don't think even if they can remind him of what our people went through, even though it is a painful moment that our people went through, the Mau Mau being killed, some of them, their land being taken. And we remember that these are the same guys. These are the Britain, the same guys who gave the option to the Jewish when they were still in Germany. They are giving them option to come even in central, in the eastern, western Kenya. I think it was western Kenya around Uganda area. They are providing them with the land to come and stay there for a period of some time. Then they will go back to their homeland. So these are the people who have never had a heart of helping Africans. But I think they had their own benefit. They had their own thing that they were coming to take in Africa. That's why they are always having some interest in this country, in the African countries. But I don't think if they have any impact in our lives as an African, like the trip that is coming next week. I don't think if there's a benefit that we are going to get from these guys.
Oh, thank you. That's true. You know, people have different expectations. Huh? When the king is visiting, you know, we are former subjects of these people. We are not only former subjects, and somebody might argue that we are still their subjects, because they still control our political sphere, they still control our economic sphere, and almost every decision that we make as a country, they must get involved. They're always involved. So we still feel that despite the fact that they declared us independent in 1963, we are still not fully independent. They have a hand in our politics. They have a hand in our education system. And most of their citizens are still the greatest landholders in this country. And there are some Kenyans who are also holding land in trust for them. So people have some varied expectations. And I was also meant to understand that up to date, Kenya still pays. I don't know, Zalendo, if you are aware of this, but I got some. They are confirmed sources. We still pay pension to the British citizens who served during before independence. So I doubt if some of those people are still alive, but we still pay pension. Kenya still remits money back to England or to UK to pay for them. While fellow Kenyans who served in the King African Rifles, and some of them were never compensated. Most of them died poor. Their families are languishing in poverty. And when asked, what they say is that since we became independent, our government ought to have inherited that responsibility. Whereas Kenya still sends money monthly in form of what is called pension to pay the families of those people, the civil servants who worked for Kenya pre and after and post independence. So is that fair, Mzalendo?
I think you know the issue of the British still sending money to Kenyans. Yes, they occupied and they wasted a bit of our time during their occupation in Kenya. So that is justified, and they didn't just wake up to send money. These things passed through due process, and the kind of money that was allocated to these fellows was justified, just like the Mau Mau and the kind of the compensation they got uh, because of British rule. It is still justified, but Africa should not depend on the Europeans to for handouts. We have our own resources. We should not also blame them entirely for our ignorance. All right. So we need to act and do things the right way. We can no longer blame colonialism for lack of education. We can no longer blame colonialism for corruption. We can no longer blame colonialism for bad roads. We have got the resources, we collect taxes, and we are able to run our own affairs without involving the white people. So we depend too much on them, and it is high time that Africa liberates itself from the jaws of the colonialists or the British. That is my take on this particular issue. We need to really uh, be focused and know what we want as Africa. So, Leo, I hope I answered you, but I think you've already dropped from the studio. Hope to find you back. Mr. G, I think we can just go on and discuss other issues. Leo had quite a number of issues. Maybe his signal is tripping or power has gone in Mogadishu. You know, in Mogadishu, they depend on generator. So generator pengine imeisha mafuta, wameenda kuweka mafuta ndio arudi tena kwenye studio. Meanwhile, if you are watching us from wherever you are, yeah, getting back, it is power. Yes. Jaleo has just apologized. It is power outrage in Mogadishu, but he will be back shortly. Now, if you want to join us in our discussion, please, the link is there. You can click Afrique Diaspora 24 TV. Please join us in this discussion. You can also go to the Mutapay page and click the link and join. Please don't forget to subscribe to Afrique 24. This is your #1 channel that brings you African news, unedited and authentic news that come from all over Africa and the rest of the world. Today we are focused on Kenya. That is how our host decided that today we must dwell on the issues affecting our country. Let me just take a small break and I'll be back shortly. Well, Mr. G, in 2 minutes, I really want to give you time and talk about the Israel and Hamas war before Leo joins us back, because this is something that you left in half. Can you please just tell us what is your feeling about this particular war that is going on in the Middle East?
Thank you, Mr. Zalendo. I think right now there are a lot of mixed reaction about this issue that is going on in Israel. And as we know that also the United States from America to join into this issue. But I think we need to know the objectives of this kind of countries like US. Why is US joining this issue? Why is it that all Arabs right now, the all
Is it my network? Oh, Mr. G, we are losing. Oh, I think the network and Mr. G is frozen on the background there. And he was talking about the Palestinian-Israeli war. I hope his network is going to come back soon. Mr. G, if you can hear me, you are frozen. Maybe you need to restart your end. You're really frozen and we can't hear you. Kindly come back to the studio to deliberate on the Israel-Hamas war. Guys, in the comment section, please post your questions. We will put them up here, and be rest assured that we will discuss the issues as you have presented them. The opinions aired on this particular show are not the opinions of Afrique 24. We invite a lot of panelists here. Some of them have got their own personal perspective of things. So we mind what we air here, but we don't encourage bad language. We encourage civility in our discussions. So Mr. G was earlier on talking about Hamas-Israel war. This war has been there for the longest time. Perhaps I can just touch on briefly. And if you care to join us, please, we have the link on the comment section. Click on the link. I will add you into the studio so that you can share your perspective on this particular topic. We have got a lot of topics that we are going to discuss today, other than what you are seeing on the screen. We have got so much lined up for you. Now, the issue of Israel and Palestine is something that started way back in 1946, when Israel occupied a territory believed Palestine were staying, and they pushed them away, citing that this is their biblical land. Palestine also have got a right to claim that that is also historically, that is where they are settled. So this story is more of a religious war between the Christian, between Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So it is an issue that, as much as we might take sides at this particular moment, Israel has really bombed Palestine, the Hamas hideouts in Palestine. And as you can see, 7,000 people are dead. I think it is high time that Israel also slows it down. They slow it down. And for Hamas, the best thing is to surrender and now and say, and call a ceasefire in this particular war. I have seen Hezbollah. Hezbollah is another terrorist group that is much bigger than than Hamas, much, much, much lethal than Hamas, that could possibly enter into the war. And their target would be mostly allies to the Americans and Israel. So this war is going to take a very, very dangerous twist. Mr. G, thank you for coming back. You can go on.
Sorry, I lost my power and then network ikapotea pia. That's why I was kicked out. But I'm back, and I came back when you were talking about the issue of Hezbollah and Hamas, and I can tell you that even Iran is behind all this issue. On the issue of Israel, Israel has brought a lot of mixed reaction between people. But as you say that maybe Hamas should just sit down now, Akubari, they should surrender. They will never surrender because they have their own objective about this war. These are the people that they know very well they cannot fight Israel and win. They will never win this war. But now we need to ask ourselves the objection of what was the reason that caused them to come and start killing people from Israel? What was the objection of them coming and start bombing Israel? And yet we know very well that Israel compared to Hamas, Israel is more stronger than it. I think the majority and the factor at the moment, without going back to history first, just at the moment, and when we can just look at briefly at the moment, I think the main objective of Hamas to start bombing Israel at this moment, it was about that issue of Abraham Accord. I don't know if you know about the Abraham Accord.
Yeah, I know the Abraham Accord was signed, was brought in by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is one of the architects of the Abraham Accord that brought peace in the Middle East. So I don't see why it should be something that you should blame on this particular war, but because the Hamas Palestinians were part of the agreement, Israel was part of the agreement, Syria was part of the agreement, Saudi Arabia was part of the agreement. Most of these Arab countries were part of that agreement. What is your take on that when you say it is part of the problem? Wow, today everybody is freezing on me. You are also frozen on your end. I don't know what is happening. Hii screen kila mtu ana pose for selfie. Yeah, everybody is posing on the screen. Yeah. So ni hiyo vita, we are talking about the war in Israel. If you have a good network, if you are out there in the comment section, tafadhali ingia kwenye studio, we discuss this particular issue and give us part of your knowledge, what you understand about this war between Israel and Hamas. Now, as you can see on my screen, the death toll has increased to 7,000 people dead. This includes children who will not be seen on the face of the earth again. Should Israel go slow on this particular war at this particular moment? And should Hamas terrorist groups surrender? Should they surrender peacefully and so that we can have an end to this particular war? Mr. G, what's wrong with your network today? I don't know what's wrong, man.
The problem is power. By the time the power goes off, the Wi-Fi also goes off. Yeah, so that's the problem that we are facing at the moment. But I'm sorry for that because it's an unavoidable circumstance. We cannot avoid it. But what I was trying to say on the issue of Abraham Accord, I think they wanted to disrupt that talks that was still going on, because we know that at the moment, so is it UAE, the United
UAE, United Emirates, United Arab.
Yeah. It is the United Arabs that they had an agreement with Israel, and I think their main objective is just to normalize Israel as a country. At the moment, we know that it is a country, but there's still that program, that fight between Palestine and Israel on the issue of land, whereby we were talking the other time on the history about their father's land, whereby the Jews believe that Israel is their father's land, the land of Abraham and the land of Isaac and the land of Jacob. Now, there is this normalization that was going on, but we are being told that I think Hamas, for it to disrupt it, most of these countries from the Arabs area, they were trying now to come into terms that now Israel is a country and the time has come that they need to live together as neighbors. But now Hamas main objective, I think, is to destroy, because they believe that Israel does not belong to that place. It took their land. So they believe that they should be wiped away from the world. It should just be destroyed. At the moment, we know that they have no power to destroy Israel. Even if they go for war, they cannot destroy Israel. But their motive and their objective is to wipe away Israel from the world. And that is the same objective that even the Hezbollah have and the Iran. So these people, they're just ganged up to come out and show that they are still fighting for the land, for their land, which is the issue that cannot work at the moment. Because most of those countries walikuwa tayari washaanza kunormalize this issue, wameanza have the agreement that this is an Israel and this is the country that should, and it is a must for them to sit together as neighbors and to live, and their life goes on. But the moment these people started fighting, I think it brought in an issue of showing that they still believe this country is not for Israel. That's the main objective for Hamas. They don't believe that Israel should have peace staying in that place. Their motive is to destroy Hamas and their desire, their wish, although it cannot happen, but their wish is to destroy Israel totally.
Mr. G, do these people know that they are all descendants of Abraham? Yeah, that is why we had the Abraham Accord. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jews and the Arabs are all descendants of Abraham. Yeah. And for the first time, when this deal was brokered in, I think in the year 2020, Trump was in power in 2020. When the deal was brokered in 2020, we saw some countries that have never associated themselves with Israel coming on board. Countries like Jordan opening their embassy for the Israelis in Jordan. That was a first time. Countries like Bahrain recognized Israel as a state for the first time. But interestingly, in the Abraham Accord, Palestine did not participate much. I don't see Palestine being mentioned in the Abraham Accord as much as it extends all the way to Sudan. Yeah, so.
No, but in Muzalendo, you know, between Abraham Accord and there's something called PLO, which is the Palestine Liberational PLO, Liberational Organization. This is a place whereby even the Palestinians themselves, they had and they was trying to normalize this issue. They wanted to have peace because they know that they cannot fight Israel and win the war. There's no way they can destroy Israel. But now they're trying to find some peace. But in the PLO, we have been told that it's Hamas also who brought the confusion in the PLO to distract those people. Because Hamas, and what they're trying to pass across is that they are still fighting for Palestine. That is their main objection. But when you we look on Abraham Accord and this PLO and everything, these are the people who have been trying to normalize issues. They are trying to normalize this country as a state. They're trying to come to agreement that at least these are people that we can live with them as our neighbors. But the main objection of these other guys is just to bring confusion. Another thing, I think they want to stamp an authority that there are people who are fighting for Palestine. Because these other Arab countries are trying to, they have started to agree and to come in terms that Israel is a country that lives in between them. So Hamas is trying to bring up that picture that no, for us, we still believe that this is our land. That is what I was trying to say. That Hamas, they have no other objection but just to bring destruction, to bring confusion between all this peace that has been going around. Kwa sababu kama ni UAE, those are the people who had already agreed that there's no other way we can go on with this issue. I think we need to live together. We need to find peace and how we can do other things. But because of that peace that was trying to come in, these people could destroy it, and to distract that peace. Why? Because they want just to frustrate this thing. They want to frustrate all this peace that have been going on, and then they want again those other countries, Arab countries, to come on their side so that they can still bring that fight again. You know, there is unbelief, I think, on their side, that they always believe on that. You know, the way the terrorist group believe. The terrorists believe in killing. That's why somebody can just take a bomb and a group of people and then blow up himself and killing those other people, because their belief is that when they do that, I think they're going to heaven, which is a wrong belief. And I don't know, I don't think even the true Muslim believe that this military group believe in. So for my side, before going back to the history, although we know that all these people that are descendants of Abraham, I think they had another objective outside that of descendants. And the objective is to destroy the peace that have been going on with the other countries that are around Israel, who have been trying to normalize that country and saying that this is Israel and you have to live with them. So when they do this thing, when they start bringing bombs and killing people, they're trying to destroy that peace that have been going on in the past few years, and they're trying to bring again that hatred, the bitterness that was from the past. I don't think if they have any other objective apart from that, Mr. Mzalendo.
I might say that you are right, that these particular doctrines that, and that's why even the Islamic religion does not teach that you should blow up people. But it is the dangerous doctrines that are taught by this terrorist group, the Al-Shabaab, the ISIS, the Hezbollah. These are all terrorist groups that are out there to fight Israel, and more so to fight, sometimes to fight America. So they are there, and that is why we find most countries really uniting against terrorism and trying to fight so hard, because they look at the weak links. Remember the bombing in Nairobi, the bombing in the US Embassy, the bombing in Westgate. Those terrorists, they target the weak spots, and they really cause havoc. You cannot really wipe them out. That is why I am calling, I personally, my opinion is to call on the leaders of Hamas and Israel to find some solution to this particular war. If they cannot coexist, then the world should come and separate them. Either the Americans, the Russians, the China, they should not take side. They should come up with a solution to bring these people on the table and find an everlasting solution to this particular problem. I believe there is always a solution at the end of the day. So we pray for the people of Israel. We pray for the people of Palestine, wherever they are. We pray for them to find a lasting solution to the ongoing war in their country. So otherwise, Mr. G, if you have anything to add on this particular topic, we need now to start on another issue that is burning.
Okay, just to add something, like at the moment right now, we know that the USA has already joined the issue, and he has not joined just to bring war, but he has joined for his own objective. And the objective, I think, is just to restrict Israel for what he can do. You know, Israel has power to destroy Hamas completely, and he has power to destroy that Palestine area completely. But now, for USA to come in I think it has just come in. Just we know how Netanyahu behaves. Netanyahu is a person that is ani huwa na nini haraka, is a person ambaye anakuwa provoked haraka, and he makes any decision that he wants without even thinking of what will be the percussion, the result, the end results. So I think for Israel to move in right now with speed, I think is trying to restrict Israel from doing more harm to the people of Palestine. And this is whereby he's trying to what we call impulsive behavior that can be done by Israel. For the Israel motive is just to destroy Hamas. Ishaambia wale watu mtoke because we want to destroy these people. And we know that most of these Palestinian people have not moved out. They're still in that place. And Israel is not backing out. Hamas is not backing back. The thing is, he wants to destroy Hamas. Now, US has come in at least to avoid that uncalculated move, behavior, or decision that Israel may make to destroy those people completely without caring what will happen to those small children and those women who are there, those innocent people who are still there. So in this issue, Israel and Hamas, US has come in fully just on one objective, at least to restrict more harm to happen to those people. And that's why they are trying to tell them, let's allow some help from other organizations to come in and at least help those people, like medicine, some water, food, and all other things. Even though they are talking also about the issue of opening the kufungua hizo mipaka, at least if possible, people can move out and take refuge from the neighbors countries. But now we are told that these people also, they don't want to move out of that country. So the problem is between the two people also. As much as we may blame Israel for destroying or killing those people, I think there's also a problem with the people of Palestine, because I believe these people should just move out and leave that country for Israel to do what they want to do. Although we are not advocating for them to continue killing to kill innocent people, but for people who are militant, those people who are terrorists, for me, I think it is a nice thing to destroy them, because these are the people who are trying to destroy peace. At the moment, sahi tumekuwa na peace between Israel and Palestine, because Palestine are trying to cry, they want their country, they want to have to own their country. But now Hamas is not giving them that peace, at least to have negotiation, to sit on the table and negotiate. What Hamas believe in is just killing. And the Hezbollah also. You remember around 40 years ago, there's some attack that was done by Hezbollah to the children of Israel. I don't know if you remember that. And we have been told that it was around 200 and something people, soldiers, 241 people were killed. And only in Marine, 221 brothers were killed for Marine, and the killing were done by Hezbollah. So this is a terrorist group that should be wiped away from the world. If we leave them there, they'll still do this thing. They'll still bring chaos. They'll still bring frustration to people who are the innocent, like the Palestinian people who are innocent at the moment. They're suffering because of this Hamas, and yet we know that Hamas cannot fight back to Israel and win the war. Always Israel will win this war. Now the problem is with Hamas, but my view is I think the people, the children of Palestine should move out as they were told, and let Israel do the operation. After operation, they will come back. And I think they should also sit on the table and give Palestine their country. That is the peace that they want. Because I know Israel cannot return the land that they took. But that small piece of land that the Palestinians want, I think they should sit on the table and the Palestinians should be given that place and make it their own country. That will bring peace. But when we still leave this around this Hamas and Hezbollah around, hakuna peace itapatikana. Kutakuwa tuna this chaos every time and then kutakuwa tuna this chaos.
Well, thank you, Mr. G. Thank you, Mr. G, for that, for the concern that you have for the people of Israel and Palestine. Leo ni Sunday kule Kenya, tunaombea wale wanaenda kanisani, waombe nchi ya Israel na pia waombe nchi ya Palestine ili wapate amani katika hiyo mzozo wako nayo. I think we need to just wind up that particular topic and move to topics in our country. Mr. G, today I was having a discussion earlier on today with some of the people from Meru about Mwangaza Kawera. Huyu mama anaitwa Mwangaza Kawera. Do you know how she came to power? Mwangaza Kawera was a woman rep, and how she ascended to power, alikuwa anapatia in Meru, alikuwa anapeana ng'ombe moja, alikuwa anapeana pesa na ng'ombe, ama ni pesa na kitu. Kuna kitu alikuwa anapeana ng'ombe na pesa kwa kila boma, and she became very, very popular with the handouts, and she was elected. Now, kuna hii Meru people here, they have not taken her very, very kindly. They claim she's very arrogant. Mama Pia, very, very, very arrogant. I was talking to a very senior elder in Meru, and they told me, Mr. Mzalendo, look at this thing this way. How do you get elected? Then you appoint your husband as the youth leader, appointed by the county. Yeah, and you don't really care about it. You get elected, you appoint your husband as the youth leader for Meru youths, and you don't even blink about it. Then you also go about and appoint your relatives in very senior positions in the county, and without a blink. Then this is something that has been going on in Meru County. Kiraitu is also facing a lot of corruption allegations. Nasikia amejenga hoteli kubwa ya kifahari huko Meru, kubwa sana ya kifahari huko Meru. Well, he was the governor. He was also accused of corruption and giving business to his close allies. So this is Meru is a corrupt county. Yeah, just to say, and maybe this time round the Senate should move and look deeply why there is a problem in that particular county, and why does EACC act on these governors who are elected, then after 1-2 terms wamejenga mahoteli bwana. Mimi hakuna governor, wacha nikwambie Mr. G, hakuna governor Kenya hii ana 3-star hotel after their first term. There is no governor without a 3-star hotel. Just tells you the level of greed that we have in the counties. And is it serving the interest of the people? Yeah, hebu angazia hii kidogo, kama vile wewe ni shabiki wa Raila Odinga, unaweza tuambia ni kwa nini magavana wenyu wanaiba kuiba makaunti, wanaiba kuiba bila huruma kwa wale wananchi wale waliowachagua.
Mzalendo, I think the problem is we are the one to be blamed, even not those governors, because governors, most of them, they have that that opportunity wamepewa, like those tenders that they get for the government and for the county and all other things. They have the privilege to take the county money and do the tenders. But now the problem with us is that we always go for the people who are greedy. We have never sit down as a people to say kama sisi kama watu wa Mombasa. We have never sit down and analyze who can be the person who can bring development in our country. Like in Mombasa, we have some few people who are good. There's another Arab person, ambaye he's the owner of Bamburi Cement. This guy, many years, amekuwa akisaidia maskini. The guy always huwa anapatiana chakula those people who are jobless, wale watu ambao hawana hata manyumba. He always stand for them. Lunch time anapatia chakula, jioni anapatia chakula, anapatia maji asubuhi. He has his own trucks ambao anapelekea maji. So such people, I think on my view, I think those are the people that at least tungekuwa tunafikiria tunawapatia kama leadership position. But now we go to the people ambao just know that they are rich, and maybe because of that handout that we are talking about, like the Kawera thing, hiyo kuenda kwa boma na kupatia ng'ombe alafu anakupatia pesa without going deeper to understand the main motive of this woman or this man. What is the main motive? We always mess by choosing wrong people, and that's why you find, even leave alone the county people, look at also the government, the ministry, the ministers. At the moment we are talking is around 1 year now in this government, but some ministers have always bought houses worth millions of money. Wamepata pi pesa. Some MPs wamenunua nyumba millions of money, wamepata pesa for just a very short time. I think in Kenya we have a problem, and the problem is just this corruption, and also there's a problem with on the issue of nepotism, because at any moment a leader amepata that chance. We know that as a governor is a public office whereby he need to sit down and angalie kila mtu, every community around that place, that county, naweza kuwasaidia, but most of them utapata wanaingia pale hizo nafasi kama hii ambayo unaongea mambo ya youth leader, this mambo ya kuchukua your relative unawapatia jobs. Those are things that always happen in our counties, not only in Kawira area ama in other place, the whole country. Juzi tumekuwa na issue on the issue of Siaya, tumekuwa na issues pale, sijui kuwa pesa zinatumika vibaya, and that was on the media whereby we are being told that Orengo was misusing money, although we cannot give the correct, and we cannot speak about what is really happening in that area because we are not in that place, but there were allegations ambao hatuwezi jua kama ni propaganda ama si propaganda, but there were allegations kwa funds are being used wrongly in those places. So always when we choose leaders, I think we are the first people that we need to blame ourselves. Why are we going for the people that we don't know their motives? Why are we going for the people that end up to steal from us? And yet we have some people who can do that job well. Going for those people, kama in Mombasa, the guy that I'm talking about, I don't think kama huyo jamaa ukimpatia kiti atakuwa na that rush ya kukimbia kwanza kuaccumulate pesa, kwanza kuibia watu pesa. No, that is a guy ambaye ako na mali tayari. Alafu another thing, he has that heart of helping people. When we give him a job, he can do it perfectly. But those other things like Kina Kawera, taking Kawera, he has a lot of issue with the county, even though I can also blame the MCS because the MCA, they're not giving her time to perform his duty. But we have to know that also there's a problem with the same governor. Why is it that there are allegations that he's taking people from his community and giving them job, and you know that that is a public place whereby he needs to look for other also people who can be good, who qualifies to get jobs from that area, but he's going only for his own people. He's going for his own household and giving them jobs. That will also bring chaos in wherever place people are. But I think on my side, as I said some few days ago, I say that I think on a Kawira issue, I still need to find a way whereby we can just remove all these people and find new people who can work together. Because even now, when we go to Senate, maybe Senator arudishe the governor kwa hiyo place, those guys, they will never sit together and work well. They cannot work. And watu ambao, it is like they are enemies. And there's something that Mburu talked about, alikuwa anasema kwa izeda maybe wanataka kuhongwa na mama amekataa kuwahonga. That can be a reason also, but I cannot say that it is the main reason. No, because I don't know if exactly the main reason, but there is a problem.
Well, you can read from what Shiko Felicitas is saying. We vote through our emotions. Emotional kind of voting is what really spoils makes us elect these bad leaders. Ukienda pale unajipiga kufua, lazima Ruto aingie kwa sababu yeye ni kabila yangu, lazima Raila aingie kwa sababu yeye ni kabila yangu, na lazima Kalonzo lazima raundi apate kwa sababu yeye ni mkaba wetu. So hii mambo ya ukabila, and politicians have perfected that. They have controlled their base, their political tribal bases perfectly. Mr. G, me, I grew up in the urban center, and you know, being called with your like wewe ni Mjaluo, wewe ni Mkikuyu, that thing was so shameful. I am telling you, we really felt embarrassed when you're being called that we came from this particular tribe. Yeah, it was so embarrassing. It was so unheard of. Those are things that we could not even imagine that one day I would be looking at my brother when it comes to politics from that angle, from the tribal angle. And we have kept on this and perfected it. Somebody told me that we could be the last generation of tribal citizens of the Republic of Kenya. Sisi ndio generation ya mwisho ya ukabila hapa Kenya. And it could be right. There is a generation that does not think of tribe. They do not think of the region where they come from. They think about policies. They think about leaders who are going to make a difference. And when they will look back at the issues that Mr. G was voting for, the issue, your children will look back at how you are reasoning. And YouTube is not a liar. They will come back to these clips and look at how his father was supporting a political leader and the kind of reasoning that he was giving then at that particular moment. Then they will wonder that were these people so barbaric? Were, from which world were they in? As much as, can you imagine this? We complain when we go abroad that the white people are mistreating black people. Yeah, because you are not in your country. Then back at home, we have the same problem, whereby in your own county where you come from, you cannot employ somebody from a different tribe other than yours.
I think the land, there is a big problem. And
what is that? Explain to me. Why would you reason like that?
That's an evil thoughts. Those are just evil thoughts, Mzalendo. Because for me, I believe we need to go by the qualifications. Qualification should be the agenda of everything. But now for us, the problem is just corruption. Na hiyo mambo ya our own tribe, tribe yetu, mtoto wetu. That is what is killing us. Even though you are saying that maybe this may be the last generation, but I can tell you, Mzalendo, this is not the last generation. There is still that seed that is planted in our hearts. Those seeds are still planted in our small children, and it's still growing.
Yes,
yeah,
because that is what you talk in your house. That is what you tell your children. That is what they hear their father saying. That is why it cannot stop, because it starts with you. It starts with you. As long as you are talking about policies, you are talking about the right governance, and you forget about talking about tribe. You forget about looking at Kalonzo Musyoka as a Kamba. And look at him as a potential leader who can lead the Republic of Kenya. Look at William Ruto as a president and not as a Kalenjin, who can lead the Republic of Kenya. Look at Gachagua as somebody who comes from the Republic of Kenya and not the Kikuyu community. But look, I know you'll say these leaders are the ones who are driving us to this kind of direction. But once we have, I know that's what you are saying, but once we have known and zeroed in that Gachagua is a tribal leader, why would we still hope that he might change after 2032? Why do we still give him a chance to go on? Why does the media still give him an opportunity to air his stories? Yeah, why does citizens still give him coverage? Yet these are tribal leaders who have actually said that they are tribal leaders.
No, they have not said it, Mr. Mzalendo. They haven't said that they are tribe, but their actions. The action proves that the action proves.
You don't have to say something, Mr. G, for me to know where you are politically inclined. You don't have to. I can read from what you are saying, what you are trying to communicate. When you say that mimi interest yangu ni mimi hawa Kikuyu. Mimi interest yangu ni kulinda au Wakikuyu, then that is an unfortunate statement. Very, very unfortunate statement.
That's why I was saying that this thing is not easy. Okay, kuna makelele kule nje. I don't know what is happening, but kuna a lot of noise outside there.
It's okay.
Yeah, what I was saying, Nikua, it is a problem that we are having as Kenyans because it's something that I think it is an elephant in the room. Look at what happened just in this government. Let's give an example because this is what everyone is out there and everyone can see. The government goes to an energy sector. Alafu anachukua tribe yake yote from kuanzia juu mpaka chini. He take Kalenjin alone. And yet we have a lot of people who are learned, a lot of communities who are able to do that work well. Alafu unaenda unachukua Kalenjin yote in the energy sector, unapatia hiyo kazi. The people that he's choosing are the people who had those issues, and we know somebody like the minister, is it the minister of energy? What is the name of this IT man? I think it's the minister of
nani. Jina imepotea, but itakuja tu.
Yeah, this guy alikuwa in the former government, I think in 2013, around 2013, 2017, he was in the ministry na akakuwa sacked. Why? Kwa sababu he had there was corruption in his docket na akafutwa kazi, and he has been a closer ally to President Ruto. Because of that closeness, akapewa kazi, sasa amepewa kazi tena kwa energy, and yet we know he's a person ambaye alikuwa na kesi na akafutwa na President Uhuru the other time. Why do we give those such people jobs, and yet we know that there are people who can steal the money? The problem is with us people, kwa sababu ya hiyo tribe yetu, mambo yetu, sijui mtoto wetu ni kijana wetu, lazima tumpatie kazi. Akienda pale yeye pia anaenda na watu wake, he choose his own people, mpaka wakora pia anachukua neka. That's where we cannot find solution in the problem that we are passing through at the moment. If tungekuwa tunataka kumaliza this issue, tungeanza with the professional thing. We go to professions. We look at the people who can work this job, who can do this job well. We should not go and choose our neighbors and choose our brothers and sisters to offer them jobs because we have that privilege to do it. We will never solve the problem that we're having. We have a lot of people who can do this work well. And for us to come out of this problem, we need to go for these people.
All right, well said, Mr. G. I wanted you to read the latest appointment. The president has appointed Julius Karangi and Kituny. Remember, Kituny really opposed Ruto. Kituny Cherengani alikuwa ni MP wa Cherengani ama alikuwa ni nini? I think alikuwa ni MP wa Cherengani.
Another thing, he opposes Ruto. Another thing, see, this guy was a Jubilee man, ama?
Yeah, alikuwa mtu wa Jubilee.
And he had a post on a Jubilee side. How comes Ruto anaamuka tu from nowhere alafu anampatia hiyo post? Kwa sababu the moment alimpatia hiyo post, I think he ceased to be now the leader in a Jubilee. Anafaa atoke, aachie watu wengine sasa. Why is it that Ruto he has his own team anaingia kwa party ya Azimio, he start choosing those people, alafu anapatia kazi na anajua these are the people
wewe ndakuuliza, hey, Mr. Mburu, tafadhali washa kamera yako mahali huko, na kama uwezi tuambie kama unatusikiza, and tungependa sana uchangia katika huu mjadala wa appointments hizi latest la William Ruto. Kuna ingine pia ya Sally Kosgei pale, Sally Kosgei, Dr. Sally Kosgei. I hope mnajua Sally Kosgei ni nani. Do you know who Sally Kosgei is, Mr. G?
I've heard of him. I know the name.
Not him. She's a lady. She used to work in Moi's regime. Hiyo time ya Moi alikuwa very, very powerful. She was head of public service. Yeah, head of public service, ndio hiyo kitu ikachukuliwa na Mdaura. So Sally Kosgei is back and amepatiwa kadoket hapo, and she's very old, she's aging. She's very old, aging, and Ruto ameona aandike huyo kazi. What does it say for the Asla Nation? Wale walikuwa na matarajio kubwa sana kwa serikali ya Bwana Ruto. Hustler Nation wanasema nini sasa?
Hustlers just crying. Hustlers should know that the things that are happening always haitakuwa ya benefit kwa upande wao. Because you know why I say that it is wrong move for Ruto kupatia mtu kama Kotunyu kiti, and yet he's a Jubilee leader. You know, I think it is in our constitution whereby you are not supposed to kill other parties for some of our own interests. Just because I'm seeing what will come to happen in 2027, so I have to kill one party to gain on my side. We have a lot of people who can take that job. Si vibaya kupatia mtu kazi, but why should you go and kill a party of somebody just because of your own interest? That's where I'm saying this is wrong. Now tukienda kwa our ambao they are aging people, we have a lot of people who can do that work. Why is it that he has to go back again to choose somebody who has already retired? And yet we have a lot of people who have no job. Like yesterday, there's a job that was being advertised in Nairobi, and I'm being told that almost 5,000 people went looking for that job, and yet we know that those people, all of them cannot get the job. Maybe watu 100 peke yake, ama watu 50, ama watu 20 ndio wanaweza pata hiyo kazi. But we have been told that more than 5,000 people went to try their best. Now sasa unaenda sahi where the opportunities are, you are giving the people who have already passed that stage, the aged people who have money, who are already rich. And sometimes kama sahi, some of them hata hawana that knowledge ya kuleta development in docket ambao nawapatia, because even they are thinking sahi imekuwa nini, imeisha. They need to stay at home and relax. But sasa ndio watu ambao wanaletwa kwa post. Why? Just kwa sababu ya this issue hiyo, mambo yetu, huyu ni mtu wetu, mimi nataka kushika interest ya kitu fulani, I need to gain something from here, that's why I'm doing this. It's just their own interest.
Yeah, huyo ndio Sally Kosgei. Huyu mama alilia sana wakati Moi alitoka kwenye kiti, alilia machozi kabisa, and she's now back. This is a millionaires club, and you know the sad reality is that Ruto campaigned on the hustler narrative. So hustler ni watu wale wa kawaida wapatiwe at least viti moja ama mbili, and they've been waiting to see one of their own, one Mama Mboga who is qualified to occupy these positions, but hawajawahi ona kama mmoja wao. Maybe hizi madocket amewacha kama kwa point maambassador, tutaona mahustlers kadhaa, 2 watatu.
No, mzalendo hakuna. There's an echo. I don't think hustlers will get those posts. Hizo posts zitapewa tu watu wake au the rich people. You know, the hustler, even though on the campaign, I'll campaign mostly for lifting people's life. Although we know that angechukua wote, hawezi chukua hustler wote akaweka kwa government, hawezi chukua wote akaweka, but at least the main focus, some objective ambayo angekuwa nayo ingekuwa to improve lives of these people. Watu ambao kwa anapigania, akipiga kelele, akizunguka kila mahali akisema kuwa he's fighting for hustler, anakuja na bottom up initiative kusaidia watu. At least angekuwa the first person to sit down and leave a cut cost of everything that is happening in his government. At least maisha irudi chini, even though we know that the economy is bad everywhere in the whole world, but at least angekuwa mtu wa kwanza to sit down and help these people, like what Nini Uhuru did last time. Even though it's not a good move vile tunaweza sema 100% good, but at least ilisaidia kidogo, bringing in subsidies at least in a lower cost of living. Wakati at least mtu anaweza afford for a time as they prepare for a future for a long time thing. Sasa at least angekuja kidogo aka sit down akaangalia the way anaweza reduce the cost of living kwa watu ambao ni hustler. At least aonyesha kuwa he has that concern with them, he can still help them. But yeye ni mtu ambaye amekuja allocation zote ameweka on his side. Yeye anakuja instead of looking at the hustler, yeye ndo anaanza kufanya renovation kwa State House, taking billions of money in State House. The same guy ambaye angekuja aka sit down kusaidia the hustler team is the same guy that is going on a trip every week, going outside and not every travel is a lot of millions of money being wasted there. Yeye ndo anachukua a big team kama security anaongeza on his side, which will never help. As you say that about ambassador and everything, there's no hustle ambayo atachukuliwa kwa ambassador toket. Hiyo atachukua tu watu wake, the millionaire clubs, na ndio watu ambao watakuwa that seat. So for us as hustlers, I think we have a long way to go, but I don't think if this government will ever stand to help these people. Kama anaweza anza kuongeza, kama look at the thing about tulikuwa tunaongelea mwanzo, the issue with the school fees. Sahi whereby mama mboga anafosiwa kuingia kwa mfuko wake at least to come out with money, alipe ndo mtoto wake aenda asome. Those are the things ambao tulikuwa tumeachana nayo, because they were pushing for free education. Why is it that now our people have to pay again for their children to go to school, and yet we know that the same people hata chakula pekee yake hawezi pata wakakula. School fees yenyewe wanashindwa hata kununua hiyo, the uniforms and the books nini, hao watu hawezi. But now when you come and you say that there will be a cost for them, unawaribia maisha. I think there's a very big problem that our people, next time when they are being told to choose, they should choose the leaders who think they can help them. And this is the right time to start looking at those people. Watu ambao watakusaidia, at least utaona tu kwa matendo. Si tu mtu ambaye anakuambia atakusaidia, but you look at the actions. How are these people behaving? If we can bring a change in your life, or if we cannot bring a change in your life. So I think people should sit down and start strategizing on how they can maneuver in this thing that's happening. But to some extent, the government is coming to help the hustler, I don't think they will be helped at all.
You as an alternative government, you as an alternative supporting the alternative government called Azimio, how is your position in Mombasa? For example, can you gauge your strength right now as Azimio in Mombasa, now that we no longer see the likes of Hassan Joho in your politics? What is happening in the coastal region? Are we about to see some new realignment in Mombasa, political realignment, people shifting from ODM to UDA? What is your analysis of the politics in the coast?
I think there will be a shift. If Azimio as ODM in Mombasa, Mombasa is a stronghold, is an ODM stronghold. And last year, before election, a number of people believed in Ruto because of his policy and what he was trying to advocate for. Things like port. In fact, we saw people like Mohamed Ali coming out and saying port inaharibiwa, port inaenda kuuzwa na Uhuru, sijui asha, mpaka there's a time that he came out with papers akiwa anaonyesha watu kuwa hii port inauzwa na Uhuru. So people believe that when Ruto comes in, he's coming to save them. Kitu ya kwanza Ruto akawaambia kuwa analeta port, anatoa port Naivasha na Nairobi anairudisha Mombasa. So a number of people believed in him na akajua kuwa this person is coming to bring a change. But when he came on the seat, ni mtu ambaye ameharibu kabisa. There's no change, there's nothing that is being seen here. So watu wengi wamekasirika na yeye, hawataka hata kusikia jina yake. But remember, Mombasa as an ODM zone, sahi wako kama lost sheep, kwa sababu ni kama hawana somebody who can bring them together. Sahi wanaanza kujiita, unaona kwa kuna hizo vikao kama last time, I think it was 2 weeks ago ama 1 week ago, ulipata the whole team wameketi pamoja, wameitwa na kina Amason Kingi, and it is easy kwa sababu akianza kupewa pesa ni rahisi sana watu kushift the ship, to jump the ship, like our MPs. These are most of them, si wote but some of them ni watu ambao wako lukewarm, so it is easy to buy them na waweze kujump the ship. So I was trying to say that as an ODM member, and as an ODM member, yeah, and a member of Azimio, at least the leadership of Azimio should come to Mombasa and find somebody who is a strong person, who can advocate for them, somebody who can put things straight. At least aweze kuzuia what will happen. But I'm telling you, mzalendo, say most of the people in Mombasa, they are discouraged with what is happening. Economy is bad, port is going, and it's being privatized. People who lost job, they are not getting those jobs again. Na wale watu ambao ni mabwenyenye ndio hao bado wako pale, ambao hata hawasaidii. So it is easy for these people to jump ship kwa sababu they are like a lost ship. Bado hawana a strong man ambaye anaweza kuweka pamoja. You know, By the time Joho was on timeline, Joho was a strong man. At least he had that capacity, he had that strength to bring these people together na iweze kuwakalisha wanawawe na a stand. But kwa sasa imebaki kuwa they are in their own life. Hakuna mtu ambaye anafaitia like ODM. No one is fighting for ODM the way Joho was fighting for ODM. Tukiangalia kama Wiper pia sasa imenyamaza. Everything is just cool. Kila mtu yani people are in bitter kwa sababu ya how life is beating them. But I think it was better if we could have find those leaders to come back to their people in the region and talk to their people and find the way they can maneuver. Lakini sasa venye iko sasa things are not okay. And also the parties, they're not doing well.
Or the political parties?
Yeah, they're not doing well. Like kama ODM, hawana ile. These people, they should be sitting at least a week. They sit in 2 weeks time, they call for a meeting, wanakaa wanaongea, they plan for their things. But hapa sioni wakiitishana wakiketi, kila mtu ako kivyake. Yeah, everyone is in his own. That's why we are being affected by what is happening. It may never bring a breakthrough in our way. Na ni rahisi sana watu kwanza kwenda kwa chama zingine, if at all wataanza kupewa handouts. You know, somebody like Ruto ni mtu ambaye ako easy sana kupeana pesa na kununua watu, so ni rahisi kununua watu ambao wako kama lost sheep.
Wewe utanunuliwa kwa nini? Na
no, mimi siwezi nunuliwa. Mimi siwezi nunuliwa because I have my own principle, and that's why I'm following Baba. I'm not following Baba because of just following Baba ati Baba Raila, no, because of what he has been advocating for. Baba is one person ambaye amekuwa akifaitia wananchi wa Kenya sana, na if you go deeper into what he has been fighting for, ni kitu ambayo ilikuwa inakuja kusaidia mwananchi wa chini. Like just in the last election, look at his manifesto. He's one guy ambako anaongea kuhusu mambo ya free education, whereby from nursery, primary, secondary and university people are going to learn free, na alikuwa anasema he has all that it takes to do this.
I don't agree with you on free and secondary education. Those are just political statements, because funding, even the richest countries in the world, they don't have free secondary education, and especially the wage bill. You know, these are political statements. They are very popular political statements that Ruto uses, Raila Odinga uses. Yes, you fund free secondary education up to university, then you give Kenyans 6,000 shillings every month. Where is this money going to come from? And those are pure lies. If you are done economics and you know the numbers that we have in Kenya and the corruption that happens in Kenya, that was not going to happen. Don't tell me that his government was not going to be corrupt, because at the moment, even the people in his government are corrupt. The people that he leads with his Azimio party are corrupt. Some of them are very, very corrupt. So those are political statements. I want us to look at things critically, things that would have happened. His policy on free up to secondary free education was good. That is something that was going to work. That is something that would have cemented his legacy, a legacy that would not be overturned so easily. But extending it up to the university, that was just a popular statement. And maybe it would not have worked because of the population, because of the resources that are available in the country. And remember, this is a country that runs on debt. So in 10 years, attaining whatever you wanted to attain would not be possible at all. So yes and no. On some of his policies, I agree. Some of his policies would have worked, but some of his other policies, I highly doubt whether they would have helped the country in a way. We are joined by hey, Ambrose. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for checking in wherever you are. Can you hear?
Yes, I'm hearing.
Oh, you can hear. Are you clear now?
Yeah.
All right, we are discussing our country, and thank you for checking on Afrique 24. I hope you have subscribed. Please do so, because most of you coming into the station are not subscribing to our channel. We need you to subscribe to us, Afrique Diaspora 24, and follow us on our Facebook page. That is the only way we can be able to bring for you these informative topics that help our country. So tafadhalini, pale mnafurahia Mr. G akiongea, Mzalendo pia akituchokoza pale na hapa na pale, we will be bringing for you this news each and every time. The Kenyan news tutakuwa tunaileta hapa kila wakati, na Mr. G na wengineo wale wako na interest na ya nchi yao, na kuangalia na kuangazia masuala mengi kuanzia uchumi wa nchi, siasa ya nchi, utamaduni wa nchi. Hiyo yote tutaangazia katika hii Afrika, na pia hatuhusiki sana na masuala ya Kenya peke yake. Tunahusika pia na masuala ya jumuiya mzima ya Afrika, na pia tunaenda mpaka Europa, na pia wale wa Kenya ambao wanaishi ugaibuni pia tunawaalika kwenye show, muje hapa mtuelezee ni kwa nini mnadhulumiwa sana na hao Waarabu. So tuambieni pia ni nini inaendelea huko Uarabuni, and why we should allow you people to continue going to Dubai and other countries that are really discriminating immigrants. So karibu sana Ambrose, maybe unaweza changia kama ulikuwa unatufuata pale nyuma.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this Afrique TV an independent TV rather than Mutembei TV?
No, this is independent. This is we are independent in that we are running on sometimes on the Mutembei, because Mutembei gave us a platform. We share the signal with him. For those who are have got nostalgia in having a discussion and are subscribed to Mutembei TV, can join us while we have our discussion. This is independent. This is Afrique 24, Diaspora TV.
Yeah.
We are focused on issues that are completely different from what Mutembei and the rest are highlighting. We are expanding our wings to what is happening in diaspora. We want to know, Ambrose, more. We want to know what you are doing. We want also to create opportunities for Kenyans who want to move in the diaspora. When you tune in to our programming, especially on Saturday this coming week, we are going to be telling you more of how to get into Canada, more of how to come into the USA. We'll also open for you the hidden remote jobs. The hidden remote jobs without paying a cost, all right? In some of these discussions, people pay, but here it is free. All we are asking you out there, whether you have subscribed on Mutembei or not, please subscribe on Afrique so that we can bring for you this information that is so important, and it is hidden. So tutakuletea hii information as it is. Karibu sana Ambrose, uko na swali nyingine?
I also have a new channel called News and Politics Kenya. So I just wanted to join you and see how Afrique is working and how things are on your live. And maybe one day I can request you to also host on my channel.
Oh yeah. That would be perfect. I am not limited to supporting young people like yourself. There is a lot of business here in the internet. We can't exhaust it, all of us, and it is not meant for Mzalendo alone and Africa alone. It is also meant for you. You can also learn what we are doing here. If you think we are doing good, maybe you can tell us on areas that we need to improve on our broadcast, and tell us if you like what we are saying, or tuna nini, tumelala kazini. Unaonaje broadcast yetu?
Yeah, I know. No, actually, I love this broadcast. Actually, I always like those night broadcasts where maybe at every 8 or 9 p.m. when people are out of work, we go live. We do some discussion. We allow the people to maybe tell us their opinion about the state of the nation, something like that.
Wow, Ambrose, I am happy. And where are you at? Where are you at? Uko wapi?
I'm from Kisii Town.
Oh, uko pale Kisii, uko Nyamanche ama uko Keroka ama uko Daraja Mbili ama uko Keumbu?
Jogo.
Uko wapi? Eh?
Jogo.
Oh, Jogo, uko ni town.
Yeah, Kisii Town, Jogo.
Yes, mimi najua Kisii. Unaona mimi najua Kisii vizuri sana. So pale hapa unanisikiza mimi, huyu mwenzangu leo ako pale Somalia, mimi niko Virginia, na unaona the world is a flat place. Young people like you, definitely we need you, and we need to empower you and make sure that you join us in this particular shows. So it is very, very important to have you around. Tumefurahi sana kukuona being part of the show and liking our broadcast. Kama umependa sana how we are doing our show. Thank you very much. Those are words of encouragement. We love them. We want you to come to host pamoja na wewe hiyo show yako, to invite siku moja, utuambie topic ni gani. We will leave an email there. You can get in touch with us, and a phone number. You can get in touch with us if you want us to be part of your show. Tutakuwa pale leo, atakuwa pale, because we want to encourage more people, young people, to get into the internet business. There is money hapa kwa mtandao. That is the next biggest oil industry in the world. So if we don't tap it right now, then kuna watu watakuwa kule mbele yetu. Kama Malaysia washakimbia mbele yetu, kama wa Chinese hao walifika kitambo, wanajua hii biashara inaenda namna gani. Wa Nigeria, they have perfected it. So for us Kenyans, we need to embrace internet. Na usione ni mahali ya idle peke yake, ni mahali ya unaweza tengeneza pesa through advertisement. We will teach you here how to create a YouTube channel, how to monetize your YouTube channel and get money. Ubaya wa Kenya ni selfishness. Huyu akisha
I have my last question. On this my new channel, it has got 6 point something subscribers so far, and it is really working well. So on my videos, on my political videos, I always post with an introduction. Can it be monetized?
The intro. Are you talking about
put only an introduction?
Yes. You're already at 6,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it can be monetized, and keep on posting. The more you keep on posting, YouTube will send you a message and encourage people to subscribe and to view. All right. You know, you could have so many numbers, yet people are not viewing your videos. Make your videos very, very short. Make them very, very, very short. If you are interested in making money, make your videos very, very short and informative. Most of these YouTube channels, they have editorials that are very sensational to attract people, yet uko ndani hakuna content. I don't know whether you have noticed that. Mtu ameandika headline, Ruto is dead, or Ruto is going to do what? A very, very sensational headline. Lakini ukiingia kwa story, there is nothing. So make your story have some meat in it, such that mtu akiingia pale uko na content ile iko tofauti kidogo. For us, you will keep on seeing a lot of what we'll be doing here, because we want to transform the industry in a different direction. We want to transform the industry not only on making money, but on also giving back to charity. That is why we want to really emphasize on people to subscribe to our channel, and so that we can be able to give back also to society. That is very, very important. So apart from politics, we will be talking about other things, so many things: farming, social life, culture, life in the diaspora. If you have a good story that you want to share with us, then we will share your story here. Tutaangazia hapa na watu wengi wataweza kujua Ambrose anafanya nini. Mr. Leo, you are back, but meanwhile, let me welcome Mburu to the show. Mburu, karibu sana, na introduce yourself and tell us why you are late for the programming today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mzalendo. I appreciate for the opportunity. I just want to apologize for coming late. You know, we were to start together, but I became more committed somewhere and I could not. Our viewers, you are very special. Thank you very much for joining us. And now I'm in the show. So I'm prepared for any kind of discussion. I could hear I was on the background there. I was listening. Mr. G was there, nicing himself with a lot of freedom. There was nobody to tell him no. But now I have come.
You don't just say no. You don't just say no. You say no by with the buzzer.
When you are out of order, there was nobody to tell you no. What you are saying is not the right thing. Anyway, we appreciate all of you, Mr. G, Mr. Leo, Ambrose, Mzalendo. Let's now proceed.
Leo again is back. I think his power is back. Leo, I've held the show very well for you. Maybe you need to pay me at the end of this discussion, because you just took off. You need to apologize for people who wanted to listen to you and listen more. We have tackled so many issues. Some of you had lined up very particular issues. Maybe you can come back and we start from where you left. Thank you very much, Mr. Leo.
Thank you so much, Mzalendo. I can see Mr. G there, Ambrose, and our very own Kenya Kwanza. Should I say Kenya, the only standing soldier? You know, those people who are defending Kenya Kwanza, and Jeff, you'll agree with me. Most of them, some of them have decided to cross over. Though they don't want to be associated with Azimio, they've decided to form another opposition or another opposing force. Some of them have decided to quit politics, including the chief's advisor, the chief economic advisor himself. I don't know why you people still allow him to draw some salaries when what he is tweeting, because we know the only place he communicates is on Twitter or the X. So your chief advisor, Mr. D, has stepped aside. We had the very, very great men and women who were making noise when we were during the campaigns. So Jeff is the only one who is still standing. Recently, I saw Benjin Dolo is also a disappointed man. Your very own chairman, Panyako, is a disappointed man. And my very own brother, called Anwar Sadat, the engineer himself, is currently beating the Hustler government left, right, and center. So I have to admit that you are a strong man. Huh? You are standing amidst the storm. Let us hope that this storm, you people are going to survive and get back the economy where you found it and take it back better, because you promised us you're going to take it back to where Kibaki left it. But you forgot to tell us that Kibaki left it and the current president was the co-driver who helped Uhuru drive it away. So Jeff, pengine utuambie, I'm told our working president, Mr. President is planning to turn the State House into Airbnb because currently he resides on air. He flies each and every time, even after telling us that he cut the traveling by about 50%. He escaped at night and was seen walking along some tarmac road there in Congo. Though even the state house spokesman and the pages, they were so scared to tell us that the president was away. So what is happening? How are these trips benefiting us? So far, yesterday's trip is the 40th. In less than, in a year actually, 40 trips, of which the president flying out of the country is no longer news. We only talk of breaking news when he stays in Kenya. If today he visits Muranga, he visits Kisii, or he visits Migori or Busia, it will be breaking news. But if he flies to Turkey, that is not news. Then apart from that, I want all of us to address this. Whenever the president been having these bilateral talks, there's normally this issue of free visa. We saw it with South Africa. We saw it when the Malaysian president came. We were told that now Malaysians will be coming to Kenya without paying any visa. And we saw it when he visited this country, this pariah country called Eritrea. And so far, about almost 10 countries. But there's something that is shocking. Jeff, maybe you'll make me understand. I've never seen these countries reciprocating. For example, he gave Malaysians free visa. They did not reciprocate. So what is not happening? How are we benefiting from these free visas? Allowing people to come to our country free, but they don't allow us to go free. You know, the one that happened recently. Jeff, I'll give you the first opportunity as a government defender to tell us something about these foreign trips, their effects, and this visa issue.
I thought Mr. Mzalendo was moderating. So anyway, it's a good question that you are asking about the visa-free or people being allowed to enter into our country without the requirement of applying for a visa. And I want to put it this way. Africa is supposed to be one. And the aspect of visa, and Mzalendo, I can hear some noise which is behind there. Yeah. So this is what I have to say, that it is so unfortunate that in Africa, for us to travel, we require visas. You want to go from Kenya to South Africa, you have to apply for a visa. Under normal circumstance, that is not supposed to be. The whole of Europe, all those nations, they don't require visa. America has 50 states. People move from one state to the other. Sometimes you don't even realize that you have crossed to the other state. Why? Because the more we become united, the more powerful we become. And everything has to start somewhere. William Ruto is somebody who is visionary, somebody who is able to see very far. And he knows that these visas are hindering Africans from moving from one place to the other. But when people come to Kenya, they don't just come to Kenya. They come with money. They come for business. So that is one way of expanding our business. So I don't see any problem if we say we are opening our country for our fellow Africans. And I also want to believe that everything starts with one step. The fact that some of these presidents or some of these nations have not reciprocated, as time goes by, you will see them understanding the importance of all of us being free to move within Africa. For instance, and I want to show you how the world is becoming one. I am a Kenyan. I studied in Uganda for like 6 years. We have seen Ugandans from coming to Kenya for business. for other things? Why do we need so many restrictions? So I don't see any reason why we need visas in Africa, and I believe other presidents are going to reciprocate. Apart from that, you have touched on the issue of the president's travel. What you should be asking yourself is which journey or which trip you didn't like, because it is not about traveling. That should not be the problem. It's about what was he going to do. It doesn't matter whether it is 100 trips he has made. If they were important, then he was supposed to go. So if you have a specific trip that the president made and you feel it wasn't necessary, then we can discuss that one. But if you take it generally, the president has made 20 or I don't know, 40 trips outside the country, but you are not saying what was he going to do, or you have a problem with a specific trip that he made. What I know is that William Ruto has placed Kenya in a very good position internationally. And you have seen everywhere he goes, he does not just come empty-handed. It is either there is a business discussion that is going on. It is either there is an important meeting that he is giving a lecture. This is somebody who is embraced outside there because of his wisdom, his knowledge. He is a very smart president. Other people are embracing him. Other people are terming the president of Kenya as one of the most brilliant presidents of Africa. But when it comes to our country, Kenya, we don't see that because we are used to criticizing and fighting.
Yes, that is what we want you to explain to us. We've seen these trips. We've heard of bilateral talks or bilateral agreements. We see them on papers. But when he comes back, we don't see, like these things that are signed, they are signed. We see them being signed in camera. They are left there. When he comes back, we as citizens, we don't feel them. Remember, we should not be seeing you working. We need to feel you working. Let me give you an example. Though it's in 1970s, Jaramogi visited Russia, and when he came back, Russians built the current Jaramogi Referral and Teaching Hospital called Russia in Kisumu. So if you go there and tell an old woman who is in Kisii or an old woman who is in Kakamega that Jaramogi went to Russia, they will agree with you because they can be able to see that hospital. William Ruto have had 38 plus foreign visits. We've not even seen a single thing reciprocated for the Mama Mboga and Mtua Boda Boda who doesn't know how to read these bilateral talks and these agreements, who can't have time to go and check what was in that agreement. They want to feel. They don't want to see you that you flew out. They want to feel that, okay, Ruto went out. When he came, amekuja na kamzungu, ametujengea choo hapa. So when are we going to see that?
You see, Mr. Leo, I am hoping that you are someone who is informed on how things happen. Things like the government strategies, they don't happen overnight. Things happen gradually. What you should do, you should tell me, go and come with a report, because I can do my research. And we see these bilateral talks that the president has been going out there to do, those agreements. What are they about? Then I'll be in a position now to answer you specifically. But I can tell you for sure, the problem with us Kenyans is that we like complaining over everything, even for the things that we don't have details. Because if I tell you now, can you give us the details of what specifically are you disputing? You will not be in a position to talk about it. And even myself, I will not be in a position to defend the president because I haven't done my research to know specifically what was he going to do. But if that becomes a question that needs to be answered, and I'm mandated that go do research and come with a report, I'll do that. So I am very careful not to talk things that I don't know. I don't want to talk generally because I don't know what has been done and what has not been done. Having said that, I normally tell people, especially in Kenya, Sometimes it's like we expect miracles to happen, but the president was not voted to go and perform miracles. We voted for him to go and form a government, lay down strategies, and implement those strategies for us as Kenyans. And I saw within even a few months, immediately he entered the office, we started complaining that he has not done anything. Even before 1 year elapsed, we were already complaining everywhere with demonstrations and every kind of chaos. That is not how things are supposed to be done. You give me a job, maybe for it, I have the benefit that I have worked both in manual and also in the office. If you give me an office and you tell me this is your office and these are the duties I want you to perform, you also give me time to start to plan myself on where to start, to be oriented, to understand the company, to be assimilated to the organization. But you give me the office today, but tomorrow you are there saying, Geoffrey, you are not performing. That is not fair. And that is why I normally tell people, don't just talk. Don't just criticize. Criticize objectively. Say, this is where the president has done wrong. Which trip is that you feel he was not supposed to undertake? So for me, I don't have much information because I haven't concentrated on where the president has been going and what he was going to do. I may not be in a position now to give you the details. But if you want me to do it, I'll do it. And I'll come with a report.
Thank you. Kindly ensure you do and come with the report, because one of the reasons we hold this show here is to ensure that people are enlightened. We ensure that we uncover those things that people are not aware of. I know there are so many people who might be commenting out of ignorance because they are not given information. And the moment you're not given information, you'll have to start speculating. So we are here to ensure that we cure that so that people stop speculating and instead speak of things that they know the facts about and information about. So do ensure you do much research so that we can be able to inform our people. So as we head into the next general election, I know it is not premature to discuss 2027 election, because people started discussing 2027 elections the very day that Ruto weka Biblia chini. So coming to 2027 elections, our people should be able to make informed decision so that we don't call them to gagas and those other names that we have within our communities referring to people who are making an informed decision. Wacha nimsikize kutoka kwa Ambrose. Maybe kama unaweza guzia tu kidogo ziara ya rais. We are saying that he's the most traveled president in the world. That is in the history of presidency. Within 1 year, he managed to travel out of his country 38 times. Those trips are more than the trips he made within the country. If he was making them within Kenya, then right now he would be done with the 47 counties. So what is your take on that? Is it positive or is it negative?
Okay, thank you for the chance. Okay, for me, I feel like it's a waste of resources. Sometimes you see, like in Kenya, tuko na shida ya high cost of living, and those flights are actually very expensive. And when the president goes out there, most likely he gets loans that those loans are actually adding burden to our society, are really adding the burden. Yeah, so for me, I feel like it's a negative activity.
True to your words, there are so many Kenyans who also have the same feeling, because when the president is traveling, he doesn't just travel alone. He travels with his staff, some assistants, and all this money is not paid from his personal account or from the UDA a share, but it is paid by the public money. So what Kenyans should be asking is that, okay, you travel, you use like 5 million. So what are you bringing back? So if these travels will only be necessary if they are giving us more return or somehow profit, but if they're not giving us any return, Kenya is not at crisis with the foreign countries that we can say a president is traveling on some shuttle diplomacy to go and mend some diplomatic relations. I think we are the one of the countries in Africa that is relating well with almost each and every country. As I welcome Mr. G, I saw the other time Parliament rejected one of the nominees who was nominated to become the ambassador in Somaliland, claiming that Somaliland is listed as part of Somalia. So there was no way they are going to vet and approve a nominee to become an ambassador in Somaliland. It was like a conflict of interest. It was like legitimizing Somaliland. To me, I think that was a wise decision by our MPs because there've been a problem between Somalia and Somaliland. These are countries that used to be one. After the civil war, they separated, and the Somaliland has been claiming independence for the last, that is from 1990s, for the last 30 years. Though AU have never accepted them as an independent country, Uhuru Kenyatta was the first person to open a liaison office there. So the MPs rejected that. So could it be that MPs were now taking authority and telling the president that, nominating somebody there is going to interfere with our relationships? So, Mr. G.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Leo. On the issue of nomination, I don't have much to talk because I haven't received a report. I don't have the concrete report that I can share with our viewers. But I think at the moment, what's happening, okay, let me just not go there because I don't have much to talk about the issue of ambassador and the election. On the issue of this traveling, the president's traveling, I will concur with what Ambrose said that in Kenya, I don't see if at all we have any benefit with this whole trip that the guy is making. I think he's just wasting a lot of our resources by carrying that huge number of people, going with them in every country, whereby I only see them signing some agreements, but I don't see the fruits of those agreements that they're doing. Maybe if it will come in the next 5 years, maybe, but I don't see it. And for a president who his campaign was on helping the hustler, I think the first thing that should have come into his mind is just to cut the cost. Si kuharibu pesa hivyo vile anaharibu sahi. This is a person who cried and said that the former government was wasting a lot of money. The former government was wasting a lot of resources. And at the end time when it comes and then anaanza kutumia ndio sasa anaharibu sana. I think it is a very wrong direction that the government has taken. And I think those people, the advisors that he took, maybe they are just the people ambao walikuja tu pia kukula pesa, lakini they don't advise him well. Kama maybe kama huwa anamadvise and he don't listen to them, kwa sababu at the time as of now, I think things are not okay in Kenya. Everything is just in a mess, and we really need somebody who is mature enough to help this country to move forward. But for the next coming 4 years, I don't also see anything. I cannot see anything that will ever come to help our people who are the hustlers. Everything that is being put in place ni kitu ambayo imekuja ku destroy lives of people, and the guy does not care what you are going through. Back to Mr. Leo.
Thank you, Mzalendo. I can see you there. What we're saying is this: we are talking on the president travels. Some people are saying they are too much. Some believe that however much they accept the travel is too much, but they're saying they're beneficial. Some are also of the opinion that right now these travels are not beneficial as long as they're not giving us some economic return. He would have traveled if we had some diplomatic crisis so that he has to meet these countries and amend some ways that maybe things that went wrong. But as it stands currently, Kenya is not having any diplomatic crisis with any country across the world, not in Africa alone. We are relating well with our neighbors. We are relating well with our colleagues. So we don't need the president to go to maybe Congo and tell that, okay, now we are going to work together. We've been working. Nothing wrong has happened. We are not in war with anybody. There's nobody who blacklisted us. So is it necessary for the president to keep on and taking these travels?
So, can I, before Mzarendo,
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah, before we proceed, yeah, Mr. Leo, yeah, I wanted to ask you a question because I would like Mr. Mzarendo to answer a very specific question. Is there any trip that you have information that the president visited this place and this is what the president was going to do, and I find that it wasn't important for the nation of Kenya? But if you don't have specific details of why the president has made all these trips, then I don't see any need for us to discuss generally, because we are only giving people general views. Oh, the president has made 40 trips. But if I ask you, give us the detail of one meeting that you know he went and what he was doing was not important. Um, then there is something you have said, and maybe Mr. Mzarendo, when he is answering that, he will help us. I think it was Mr. G. Mr. G said that we need somebody who is mature enough to take Kenya forward. Are you trying to imply that Mr. President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, is not mature enough, or what did you want to imply?
Okay, what I implied, Mr. Mburu, I did not mean the maturity ile ya kuwa na mandevu kama sisi tuko na mandevu. I mean maturity in a way that you come in the politics arena to help your people. The guy is not mature enough to help our people, and I think he's in he's in a dark place whereby he cannot see anything that's happening around him. Look at what he stood for Wakata Kwana campaign and what he's doing right now. They're totally opposite things. This is a guy, I think he just came in to loot. Amekuja kuiba na kujaza pesa because he want to meet in the club, the big boys club. That's where he want to meet. That's why he's doing all these things. Wakati ananyakua. You know, a lot of things that he's doing is contrary to what he stood for. So when I talk about maturity, I mean he should be a person who hana mambo mengi, yani hana mambo mengi vya kutaka pesa sana. Ni mtu ambaye anakuja kusaidia watu. Exactly, the main objective ni kusaidia watu. That is what I meant.
You see, now the problem, Mr. G, is that we are just generalizing. You are saying President mwenye hana haja ya kuiba pesa, but you cannot substantiate your statement and tell us that I have the information the president has stolen this money. So we are only throwing out there to the public things that we are only imagining. But when we come to the media, I would advise that we only talk facts and what we can tell the people that I know exactly. When I say the president is not doing things in a mature way, you can give the details, even with examples. And if you just throw the statement there, mtu mwenye hana mambo ya kutaka kuibaiba pesa na hajaiba, ama hauwezi onyesha ameiba pesa gani, wapi. Do you have that kind of information? Anyway, let's proceed.
You asked a question and then I got lost in between, but maybe in my attempt to answer the presidential trips. Now, the president has got a diary. It's called the presidential diary that he uses each and every day. He does not formulate this diary. It is formulated by a department employed by the taxpayers of the Republic of Kenya. Now, when the president visited, for example, China, Mr. G, you don't have anything of your own, including the roads that you run on. They're only in your country, but you can't make any roads, despite having engineers going through University of Nairobi and all that, and graduating, and yet they cannot even be allowed to practice their skills in Kenya. So, and apart, even if they were allowed, we don't have the money and the capacity to construct so many kilometers of roads in our country. We need to look for funds. These funds are given by our development partners. Development partners means that if you have borrowed internally so much, and you cannot, that amount cannot be enough to sustain to sustain a particular project. Now you run to the Chinese for assistance. So the Chinese will give you a loan. Of course, you'll pay that loan on an interest because it's a long-term loan. It's paid on an interest. So that is why the president is running up and down. Another thing, he was in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Why was he in Saudi Arabia? You need to look at the presidential diary and what he was going to do in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, he met the Pepsi Cola CEO of Africa. And most of it was how he can bring investments in Kenya, how they can cooperate and bring the investment to our people so that people can get employed and all that. This country economy will never grow without industries. So economies of Africa can only grow with industries. Each and every election year, what we are sung to by the politician is Mumias Sugar, Mara Moroni Sugar, Mara Nzoia Sugar, Mara the tea sector, Mara what, the usual crap that the government puts in a lot of money, yet that those sectors cannot employ so many people. Even in tourism, when you see the president going out of the country to another country, he's advertising his country, he's enticing investors to come to the country. When Leo asked a particular question, why do you give waiver for waiver visas for people coming from Malaysia? This is the reason, Mr. Leo. The reason is that technologically, Malaysia is beyond Kenya. Technologically, Singapore is beyond Kenya. There is a lot we have to learn from them, and there's very little that they can learn from us. So tunanyenyekea na tunawapatia uhuru wa kukuja hapa na kusoma hapa na kuacha rasilimali yao ama the education that they have, they impact it on young people like Ambrose in Kenya. That is why the president is opening borders for investment. These are called opening borders for investment. But having said that, the presidential entourage should be reduced to such an extent that it does not carry a whole office or a whole Harambee House to a trip in the US. That does not add value. There are some of, I believe there are some trips that he can do via video, and he has done many of that. And don't forget, this president is workaholic, meaning that he does not drink alcohol like his predecessor. And again, he is busy trying to impress Africa. And Africa has put him in a pedestal whereby he is seen as a very intelligent person. Unajua mgema asifiwi kwao, unaona. So that is the reason why you are seeing Ruto running up and down. And lastly, he's also excited with the position of the presidency. Don't forget that. He's just won an election, a very, very tough election, and he is enjoying being the president of the Republic of Kenya. So, but if our economy is doing so badly, then there are some trips that he has decided to cut down. I believe they should cut down those trips and even the salaries that they are earning. What I've said here before, and I'll keep on saying, is that there is no way Murkomen can come to the US, try to look for money, and yet he's wearing a watch worth $2 million or 2 million, over 2 million. Or a president coming to borrow money, yet his salary is higher than what Biden earns. It doesn't make sense. So Africa, we need to dig very, very deeply and look at, why we have to be here, why we have these bad manners. It is called bad manners in leadership. We have a lot of bad manners, a lot of it. We are not humble. And I gave an example of retired Chancellor for Germany. This lady was given a standing ovation all over the country when she left office. And you know why? She still lives in the same apartment that she lived in. The same apartment that she lives in. She still buys grocery in the same store that she used to buy a grocery. And Germany is the biggest economy in Europe. Look at countries of Africa, very, very small countries with little economy that depend on taxpayers' money. They are living large like kings and with, with diamonds. Mi nakwambia, an African leader, if he was to walk with gold on his shoulder, he would be dragging with the whole of his family na ile resources wameiba. So we need to look at carefully when we are talking about leadership. As much as we want to correct them, we correct them in the right manner as we talk about, leadership, governance, and good manners. Mr. G, you have a question for me?
Okay, just one question. You talked about the president going outside the country, making those trips that are beneficial to our country. But now I just want you to give me one benefit from the almost 40 trips, the investment that he has gone to look from other countries. Just give me one investment or two investment that has brought after visiting those countries. I love another thing is that you talked about him impressing our neighbors, our African country. They look at him as a person. I think you wanted to say something like he's a sharp man, but I don't think he's a sharp man. So just help me to understand, if you're going out to impress your neighbors, and yet you are killing your people in your country, you are frustrating your people in your country, which benefits do you get?
Thank you, Mr. G. In the last trip that Ruto went to China for 4 days or a week, he came out with $63 billion. That is money that you didn't have. In the last trip that he also was in China, he was able to renegotiate the loan that we have so that it cannot accumulate the interest that is passed to you. That is a benefit that you will not see directly, but these are benefits that you will see in the future. So he does not go there to have a cup of tea or to ride in the limousine and to dance with the Chinese leader. There are so many things, exchange programs, that other things that you are not told are also military exchange. For example, training of our soldiers. When the president comes to the US, he opens avenues for our soldiers to get trained here. When he goes to Israel, it is the same. So these are things that are not tangible to you, that you can touch, or are not mentioned to you, but these are deals that are done. When he's talking in Saudi Arabia with the Pepsi Cola CEO, he's telling them, we have an opportunity for you in Kenya for growth. Come, we have got cheap labor in Africa, in Kenya. Come and set up a plant that will employ our people and distribute the Pepsi Cola soda. And Pepsi does not only make sodas, they also make crisps. They also make other products, not only the soda that they drink. So these industries are the ones that spur economic growth, and you need to understand that. Thank you. I hope
But Mzalendo, if you talk about investment, I have no problem with investment or going and looking for investors to come and invest in Kenya. My problem is, this is a guy who stood up and said that our former government, being led by Uhuru, they were going out taking loans, Wakekula, and he's promised us that he's not going to take loans. Why is it that you're defending him going out to look for other loans? Na mtu akawa anasema hatachukua loan tena. Why is he taking loans again?
Well, I must say that, I want to give you an example, a practical example. When you are in high school, or when you are in high school, you are really looking for an opportunity to be named a prefect, and saying that, me, when I get to become a prefect, I will not punish anybody. Sitawai, I'll be this perfect, not like my predecessor who was punishing people and all that. But when you get to office, you find that it is a different ballgame. It is there are things that you had anticipated that you wanted to do that you can't do. There are other people who control you, like the treasury would advise you. Yeah, KRA would advise you. Your chief economic advisor would advise you. There are other partners in government also who would advise you, like IMF, World Bank. Those they're called development partners. They would also advise you. You didn't realize this when you are before we got into that particular seat. Remember, Ruto has not been a president. So when you become the president now, you realize that oh my God, so I can't do this without
So,
the bureaucracies. For
so,
example,
so you're just confirming that he had a he did have a plan, I think, Sidio.
what
Because
he did.
he told us that he has a plan. And in fact, I remember there's a time that he went when our mother, I think he was one of the Mau Mau who died in central Kenya, and Raila decided to visit that place for burial. He's the same guy who told Raila that sit down, you only know history, but for me, I know economy and everything. I have a plan for this country. Now, when you're saying
Yes.
that somebody come into our office and then finding that things are not the way he anticipated, which means he didn't have a plan.
Listen, Mr. G. Policy statements are not formulated in funerals. All right. Yeah, those pronouncements you hear politicians saying in funerals are not law. Okay, and they can always say they were misquoted. How many times have you heard them say things like that? As much as we advocate politicians to be honest, in Africa and especially in Kenya, not most politicians are honest. They're not honest with us. So whatever policy, unless it is coming from his cabinet, then I would not, I would call it as a rhetorics. Remember the issue of stadiums. Yeah, the issue of Ruto saying that it will build so many stadiums, and it didn't happen because of the bureaucracies that are in government. So the pronouncements that politicians make in funerals or by roadside proclamations, like Raila saying we are going to Canaan, you know, and then you go home telling your wife and your own family that, when Raila gets to power, we will be in Canaan. Those things are just proclamations. These things are just to stay his base. Those things are just to maintain his political base, but don't take them seriously. So
Mr.
we are
Mzarendo,
willing to take a politician seriously.
can I say something on that? First of all, I just want to say that many people just decide to misunderstand the president, especially the diehards of Azimio. I don't remember, because I've been following so much the politics of Kenya, and I've been listening to the president even during the time of campaign. I don't remember the president saying what Mr. G said, that I will never borrow loans from outside. He never said that. What the president said is that we are going to reduce on borrowing. We shall not be borrowing brightly, especially borrowing for the recurrent expenditure. And that is what the president has been doing. That if we are to borrow, we are going to borrow for assets, for infrastructure, not to pay salaries, not for subsidies. That is what the president meant. And so I don't see the reason why we should say what the president did not say. If you have a clip where the president said, we will never borrow loans, I would like us to have it here for the people to listen to it. I don't think there is any. The president never said we are not going to borrow, but he said we are going to reduce on our borrowing, and we are going to do the restructuring on how we have been borrowing. So Mr. Mzarendo said that the president also, when he was the deputy president, he pledged that he's going to build the stadiums. And you know very well what happened. When they were campaigning with Uhuru Kenyatta, they had a strategy together. They would agree what when they go for the public rallies, what they are going to tell the people. But now, after Uhuru Kenyatta acquired the power for the second term, and they had the handshake with the handshake brother, they decided we are going to frustrate the deputy president. And one way of frustrating the deputy president is to ensure that anything that came from his mouth that he promised, we are going to sabotage. And remember that the deputy president has no power to decide where money should go or where money should come from. Now, if we are to charge Mr. President, we should look for the things he promised he will do when he becomes the president. But whatever he did not do as the deputy president, and he had promised, it was out of sabotage, because they knew if they built those stadiums and Ruto was in the ballot, he was going to campaign and tell people, you see, I promised the stadiums and I have built the stadiums. I had promised ABCD. So what Uhuru did, he made sure that anything that the deputy president promised people that they were going to do. Remember, it was not him. He was saying we, as the Jubilee government, are going to do it. But the president, who has the final say on which project should be undertaken, decided that anything that the deputy president said, it will not be done, so that people can say this guy does not keep promises. But now, if we are to judge Mr. President William Ruto, let us judge him on the things he promised on the campaigns. For these 5 years, we should be in a position to do the performance appraisal against what he promised. Then after that, we can tell him, you had the power, you had the authority, you promised, you did not fulfill. But whatever he had said as the deputy president, he had no power to implement. That is what they had agreed as the manifesto of Jubilee. But the Mr. President Uhuru Kenyatta decided to sabotage his deputy, and everybody is aware of that.
Yeah, Mr. Leo, just one thing to Mburu. Mburu, you're saying that the former president started to sabotage what the deputy said. Yes. I don't know if you always look at our progress, maybe kama unaangalia news and see how things are happening in Kenya, because I think you have not been in Kenya for a while now, and you don't know what is happening right now. This person called Ruto is the first person who stood and said that he was the one who was helping Uhuru to lead that government. Na wakati Uhuru alikuja akajifanya amekosana na yeye, akakutana na Raila, everything went in a mess. Now I'm asking my question. He has been in the president for almost 1 year. Why is he not using that strategy he used to use to help Uhuru? Bona he's not using it right now. There is a time that we were told in State House around 2 million inapotea kila siku. Sijui kama usikia kitu kama hiyo. And that is the time ambao mambo ya debit ya kukopa ilianzia, na Ruto akatuambia kuwa he's not going to take loans. And sasa unasema alikuwa amesema atachukua ata limit on taking loans. So I just want you to tell me the figure of the debit amechukua for the last 1 year, if you know. Because ngapi amechukua, alafu and then we compare it with the same period of time ile ambao Uhuru alichukua last time.
So you see, it doesn't matter how much Uhuru had taken within 1 year and what the president has taken within 1 year. And I want Kenyans to know, it is okay for any country to borrow loans, so long as the loan is not when it comes to development. Right? For instance, the SGR, we borrowed loan from China, but the information that we have is that the infrastructure which that loan was going to build was inflated. So if the loan is borrowed, then we prudently utilize that loan to build permanent infrastructure that will help the government and the people, even the future generations. There is no problem. So the problem is when people inflate the prices. For instance, I hear the SGR costed 3 times the normal price that it was supposed, the normal cost. That is when now the loan becomes bad. It also, the other problem is if you borrow the loan for recurrent expenditure. So I don't see any problem with borrowing loan as well. How do we utilize our loans when we borrow them? So, and the other thing, these are two different governments. So I don't see any significance relationship between what Uhuru had borrowed within 1 year versus what Ruto has borrowed within 1 year. So what we should be asking ourselves, how are we utilizing our money? Because we have to pay this money afterward. The biggest mistake we were making as the country, Mr. President, the former president, let me not even say Mr. President, but the former Jubilee government, we were borrowing money for subsidies, borrow money for salaries. That is where we were making mistakes. We borrow money, and part of that money goes to the pockets of some people, some leaders, kickbacks, and all that. That is where we were going wrong. That we have some roads that we are built, but when the statistician and the researchers, when they do their research, they say, no, this road was not supposed to cost this much. So we should be holding our government into accountability, to account. What have you done with our money? Because every money that is borrowed is the Kenyan people who will pay. Instead of saying you borrowed, okay, you borrowed, it's okay. Number one, did you follow the law? Did you follow the procedures? All the protocols, if they were followed and observed. Now, how did you utilize the money? And the greatest problem that we have as a nation is that no senior person is arrested in Kenya, even if they misappropriate money. And that is why even Uhuru Kenyatta, even after the controller of budget saying that Uhuru Kenyatta ordered her to pay money that she was not supposed to pay, nobody can touch him. He is untouchable. That is unlike some other countries that are serious, like United States. Right now, you would be having Uhuru Kenyatta on the bar there answering questions, being asked, called by the parliament to be asked, why did you order this?
Jeff Buru,
Yes.
Buru, just hold on before you continue. Right now, we would be having Uhuru Kenyatta on the bar answering questions. That is the dream of every Kenyan, including me, because it is a fact that the former regime, that is the Jubilee 1 and Jubilee 2, yeah, the Uhuruto and the Uhuru regime, we should be seeing them answering questions. It is true. Even during their time, those guys who did some evils were supposed to be held responsible. So, do we expect Uhuru to arrest himself, present himself before the magistrates, and answer questions? That is why when you take power, they give you that sword. They give you all the instruments of power. We are having the judiciary. We are having the executive that is headed by William Ruto. As much as these three arms of government are equal and independent, the executive is naturally, and I can say it's naturally powerful than any other organ. The executive has got its hand on all these other arms of the government. So who should we blame right now? I think we should blame William Ruto for failing to hold Uhuru to account for the mistakes that he did. So it is either he is doing it deliberately because it's also part of the mistakes that Uhuru did. We are having the judiciary. We are having the parliament, which should also has got power to summon these former heads of state. The parliament, the majority party or the majority coalition is Kenya Kwanza. The majority leader is Kenya Kwanza. The speaker there is Kenya Kwanza. So I think you are contradicting yourself. You should tell us that it is Ruto.
I haven't. You see now.
I will not take it serious, Jeff. If you come and tell me Uhuru stole this, Uhuru did this, or if Mr. G tells me, because you people, your hands are tied, you don't have instruments of power. But it doesn't make sense if the heads of state tells you how people in the former regime stole money. Our constitution is alive. The constitution judges both past, present, and future crimes. So telling Kenyans you have the instruments of powers is like Uhuru used to tell us that Kenya is losing 2 million or 2 billion a day, and he is the president. So I think in your statement you are agreeing that William Ruto is failing Kenyans. He has got the opportunity, the power. We've
You
given
see,
him power to bring all those money things that were stolen. So let him not tell us money was
But
stolen if he can't bring them back.
you
Let him
see,
just keep quiet. It
we
is
are
either
here.
he stole or
We are
those
here
are
for
liars.
just to add something before Mburu comes in,
so,
just to add something before Mburu
Mr.
comes
Leo,
in. Mburu,
with here,
just to
yes, proceed.
before we come in, Mr. Leo, you know, this man called Ruto, before be elected as a president in Kenya, you remember wakati wa interview, he stood up and told us that on this issue of cattle wrestlers, ni government ilikuwa imemwekelea. So when he comes in, atamaliza hiyo kitu. Hasimaliza hiyo kitu. Hajamaliza. This is a man full of propaganda. So you cannot expect him. They will use all propaganda and everything kuchafua jina ya Uhuru, but there's nothing they are coming to work on it. Hata Mburu akimtetea kiasi gani, this guy has a problem. Anafaa awe ameshika Uhuru sahi. But those are just propaganda being formulated outside there kumharibia jina. A lot of people here ambao walikuwa ni cartels, he told us akiweka Biblia chini, those cartels watashikwa, sijiona cartel hata mmoja. So this is a guy that we cannot bank onto. Ni mtu ambaye anapenda propaganda na kuchafulia watu majina. Mburu kama ina nitetea mtu wako.
You see, Mr. G, you like making general statements, and general statement cannot stand any test, because right now the issue of Uhuru ordering money to be released during his regime against the law, it wasn't Ruto who said it. The controller of budget was being questioned by the Parliament of Kenya, and these parliamentarians are voted by the people to go and speak and do things on their behalf. So when the parliamentarian questioned her, she said, yeah, I was ordered by the president to release this money. And for me, I'm not saying Uhuru stole the money, but because this allegation was made in parliament, in one of the arms of the government, that Mr. President made a mistake and he ordered money to be dispersed in various departments against the procedures. What I said, and Mr. Leo said that I am contradicting myself. I will never contradict myself. And I said, as I support the government of Kenya Kwanza, I don't support bribery. And I had said it here again, that it is very important that this regime, because of setting precedents, we don't want what happened during Uhuru's time, the mistakes that happened. We don't want the same mistakes to happen. That when William Ruto and his government, when they will be leaving power, they want to make sure the next government, if it is not their favorite government, it will have had time to sail through or to succeed. Because that is what was happening. So that is why I'm saying William Ruto should help us. Help us scrutinize. Help us investigate all the evils that were done by the previous governments. Not just Uhuru. We also want to know what transpired during the time of Kibaki. We know so many things happened. A lot of corruption happened. Even during the time of Uhuru. It is better to investigate people when they are not in power now. But so long as in Kenya, we don't arrest any senior person, our country will continue dragging behind. And I fear that the same things will happen. Next, after 5 years, if Ruto will not be the president, the people who are in the government right now, they will do so many things, but they know I will not be taken anywhere. And that is why I say, in Africa, we lag behind, because for us, we don't think of the mistakes that or the evil that our leaders are committing. We think more of whom am I supporting. For me, even if Leo today I'm supporting you, but you are doing something wrong that is likely to affect the nation, I will not support you. What is wrong, I will say this one is wrong. And that is what I'm saying. One way in which the Kenya Kwanza government can help the people of Kenya and the nation of Kenya is to open an investigation. Yes, we might say this is not the work of the president, but what I know, the president has a very powerful say. he can say we need these investigations to be started. We want to see judiciary in action. We want to see the anti-corruption in action, investigating the former regime. Let us know those projects that were done. And I agree, Uhuru built so many roads, but we want to see how much did the roads cost. Was it worth? Did people get value for their money? Because it is our taxes. In Kenya today, even the child that will be born today, we will have owed, or we will have a loan of over 100,000 hata wenye hawajazaliwa. And that is what I'm saying. Instead of thinking so much of Geoffrey supporting Ruto, we should be thinking of, are we getting value for our money? How is the government spending our money? Are we speaking out and saying, like, that is what I said. If you have information that the government has stolen something, speak about it. But don't say generally, oh, the government is stealing, Ruto is stealing, but you cannot say where. Where did you get the information from? But now for me, I'm saying we got information that the former regime got money from the treasury against the procedures without following protocol, without following processes, and nobody is talking about that. So we continue setting that bad precedence. It will continue like that, and our country will continue to stagnate. And that is where the problem is. Leo.
I get you. That is true. We all have to agree that it's either we are blaming Uhuru wrongly, because I'm sure if all these evils happened, William Ruto has got power. He is the one who is having the instruments of power. He is the one who should initiate. I want to see Uhuru being taken to court to answer as to why during his regime, baby Pendo, an innocent kid, was killed in Kisumu. Why during his regime, several people were killed during legal demonstrations. A lot of money, like the ones Waiguru were carrying in a sack, that is the Eurobond. And by the way, Jeff Buru, you know, one of the problems that we're having in this country that is affecting our debt is that Eurobond is maturing. I think it matured this year. So those are some of the debts we're having. And the people who took Eurobond are governors, and they are catwalking and dancing and telling us how they are still going to elect Ruto and such kind of things. So I know the main reason why Ruto cannot do that, because he's part of it, and he's also doing the same, and is planning to advance the same. And the main reason why I opposed Ruto was not that he did not tell me something that could convince me, but I opposed Ruto because he was part and parcel of the previous government, that is the Ruto government, for 10 years. He was supporting it for 6 years. The remaining 4 years, he decided to earn salary, criticize the same government, but earn salary. Ruto was in Moi's government in 1992. From 1992, he was assistant minister. Ruto was in Kibaki's government. He was a minister of agriculture, minister of higher education. So Ruto have been in all these governments from 2022, of which we can't say is clueless. He should be able to know how governments run. So what he's doing, it is deliberate. He's just doing it deliberately. He knows the right thing, but he just doing it deliberately. So guys, I think we've been here for almost 3 hours. Today is also Sunday. Most people are busy in their worship places. That is in the East African time. I know those in America, there are people like Mzalendo, they are almost getting in bed, and maybe people are wondering why some have not yet slept now. And if you stay in the house with people, they will be asking that, why are you not going to sleep? So I think we should give our closing remarks so that we can be able to wind up the show and wait for tomorrow or any other time. But we will always keep on updating the viewers on what is happening, whether it is midnight or early in the morning or in the evening. As long as something happens new and we feel that our viewers need to be informed, we always keep on informing you in form of posts, videos, and even photos. So that is why we do encourage you to like Afrique 24, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and not only like or share, you need to share with your friends so that they can also join us in liking and sharing. We also live in Mutebei TV. So maybe one of these 5 days you will wake up and find that we are not live in Mutebei TV, maybe due to technical problems. So it is advisable that you like both. So if you miss us in Mutebei TV, you'll find us here at Afrique 24. So as we give our closing remarks, we'll go in that order: Mr. G, Jeff, then Zalendo, then we'll wind it up.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. I think on my final remarks, I'll be very short. And the first thing I can just say is that Mburu should know that the guy who is in power right now, no, I'm not hitting you, Mr. Mburu. I'm just saying that the guy who is in power right now is the person who has every mandate. In case we have any person who messed in the former government, he has the ability to catch and to arrest that person or to open some inquiries for him. But from the time Ameingia kwa office until today, there's nothing that has been done. The only thing that I can say on this government is a lot of lies that is going on. This is the first person who told us that when he gets power by December last year, kila mtu angekuwa na NHIF card. Things have not happened. He's the same person who told us that in the next 6 months or few months tutakuwa na a cylinder of a gas itakuwa ni 300 ama 200 shillings, ama ni 400 shillings. Things have not happened. A lot of things he has promised and he has not delivered. So there's nothing we can say and there's nothing we can say that we are expecting from this person. This is a guy that is full of propaganda and lies. And for me, I still remain that as people of Kenya should sit down, look for somebody who can deliver them from the problem they are passing through. Because even this regime will never deliver them from the problem they're passing through. On the issue of investors that Mr. Mzalendo was talking about, this guy tumemwona akitokezea last few months, and a frustration Indian investor with a lot of issue that hata hazina any clue on what to be done. So akituambia kwa he's going out to look for investors. I don't know which kind of investors he's going to look for. Alafu ndakuja anza kufrustrate akawambia mambo ni matatu. This is a government that has failed all through. Thank you, Mr. Leo.
Wow, thank you very much.
Your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. G and Mr. Leo and Mr. Mzalendo. And I can also see, I think Gilbert is there trying to join in. Yeah, Gilbert is there. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say this as I wind up, that there are people who are hoping that, like Mr. G, there is something that can be done if people organize themselves and get somebody else to take them to the next level. And I want to tell you, our viewers, that is next to impossible. The only thing we can do right now is to have goodwill to see our government perform, because if the government performs and succeeds, it's our nation which succeeds. Ruto right now is not the president of Kenya Kwanza. He is the president of the entire country. Once people vote, they just vote to know who are our leaders. And now we know our leaders. Now we should all support them. Everybody feels good when he is supported. And I would like to urge all people from every corner of the nation of Kenya, be loyal, be patriotic, support the government. Nobody wants to wake up every morning and the only thing you hear is criticism. The only thing you hear is people wishing you to fail. The president will be more encouraged to work harder, to wake up early, to come up with good plans when he is motivated by his people, the people that he is leading. So let us always be objective, even in criticism. Let us also know we have a role to play to make sure that our government succeeds. Not only that, even in 2027, there are people who are hoping that something or some magic somewhere will happen and Ruto will not be the president or somebody will emerge. But I can tell you, according to this is my personal opinion and analysis, that Ruto will go for 10 good years because if Uhuru, Raila Odinga, and the team were unable to stop him from becoming the president when they were in power, when they had everything, I can tell you now that he's in that position. If God will give him good health and keep him alive, Ruto is going for 10 good years. And we will come here after 2027. I will tell you, I told you people, it is not very easy to remove Ruto in power when he has already acquired it. And the other thing I can say is that the people of Kenya, they reward evil. If you are charged with corruption, even when it is white, black and white, everybody can see there is something that has happened here. We reward those people who steal from us. We vote for them because they have money, they have stolen money, they are able to campaign. And I would like to advise that we start changing how we do things. If somebody is accused, and not only accused, if you find that, you do your analysis and you see the allegations that are made against someone are varied, especially the allegations of corruption, don't vote for that person. So we have seen people stealing from us so that they can get money to give us or to bribe us so that we can vote for them. That is very unfortunate for our country, Kenya, that we reward those who do wrong or those who do evil against our nation. And I also want to urge the government to do investigation, open investigations to the former government, former regime. Every money that we lost, because that money is in the bank accounts of people, individuals, money that is supposed to be in our hospitals, money that is supposed to be in our roads and other infrastructures. Do investigation. Anybody who has stolen from Kenyans should refund that money. If they don't have money to refund, what they have should be auctioned, and the government should be in a position to repossess what belongs to the government. So that is what I can say. Let us all pray for Kenya Kwanza government, for that is the government that we have now. Yes, that is what I can say. God bless you. God
Yes,
do you
Mr.
good.
G.
Leo, just a rebut in 1 minute only.
Sawa.
Yeah, just a rebut in 1 minute. Mr. Mburu, when you tell us that you don't see somebody removing Ruto, I think there's one thing that you're forgetting. You have to know that Ruto came in power because of goodwill with some few people that alikuwa ametumia mambo yake ya ukora akifanya. And also remember that in Central Kenya, almost everyone was singing about UDA. So he had goodwill. Na sahi, the same people who are singing that song, ndo ameanza kuimba nyimbo ingine tofauti na hiyo. So when you tell us that you don't see anyone who can remove this guy, then you are lost. Because huyu jamaa, look at the people ambao amemwacha sahi.
You see,
he can't be removed. He can't be removed.
You see, your sentiments about people leaving William Ruto is imaginary, because I don't think people have left the president. All what people are saying life is hard. And I know the president is working day and night to fix the problems that Kenyans are facing. The fact that you feel like few people have left the government, I can tell you more people have joined Kenya Kwanza government. Look for the leaders. Almost everybody is on the list. They are learning to join the government. So we have no choice. We have no choice, my friend.
Guru,
You have
Guru
to accept
reality.
Guru,
that's why I said it is always watch TV. Always watch TV.
The fact that things are not so good today does not mean it will remain like that. Things will change. And does not mean that the president does not know what he is doing. That we may think we know something that he is supposed to do and he is not doing it. So what I know is that the strategies and the plans are there. And Ruto it's just 1 year. He still have another 4 years. So we will see, we will be here. And I'll tell you, I told you, Mr. G, I don't fear repeating my words. When I tell you Ruto will go for 10 years, I am convinced because I have seen all leaders right now. They are leaving Azimio. They are joining Kenya Kwanza. And it will be like that after 2027. And already those people who are very critical thinkers, they know this guy, it's not very easy to remove him. And if you cannot fight them, what do? You join them. That is why they are joining Ruto, because this guy is a political giant. You can't just fight Ruto.
Mr. Leo, try to convince Mburu to watch TV kila wakati ajaribu kuangalia news. Before akuja hapa tuambie people.
Mzalendo is winding. Mzalendo, we are winding up. Mzalendo, we are winding up.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Leo.
As we are winding up, jaribu kuambia Mburu, don't say that you're seeing leaders leaving Azimio and joining UDA. Those people are going there. You know, actually, Ruto is the one who is now dividing the meal. So those people cannot be in the cold. They are hungry. Ninja inawapeleka. So
you know, this is what I have to say to all of you. I know Mburu is disappointed at some point, and I know more so Leo and Mr. G are very disappointed at the feeling that they lost election. They invested their time and their efforts for Baba to win, but it is a painful disappointment that you'll have to live with for a very long time. And that is how the nature of politics is. You invest your time hoping that your candidate will win, then later on, he doesn't win the election. So that is something that you will have to deal with for a long time because elections are held after every 5 years. So 5 years again is a long time to wait. So for Mburu, who is saying 2027 is gone and dusted, governments can be beaten. William Ruto's government can lose election because of so many things, the tax issues and the promises that he made for the Asla nation. Remember, he made the promise to the poor, and the poor are the majority, and they can rise up against him. The only unfortunate bit about this about the political class is that he doesn't have a strong opponent. He doesn't have a strong opponent and a strong challenge coming to 2027. But he is beatable because he has lost on his policies. What I would urge is, I would urge the fourth estate and the civil society to give more emphasis on civil education and why we vote. The reason why I'm saying this is most people don't really know why they cast their vote on that ballot. Leo will cast his vote with emotions. Leo will cast his vote sincere with a lot of emotion that this is one of my own, this is one of my blood. And you look at anybody going against the grain as a rebel. So that is where our nature of politics is bad. Let the will of the people prevail, both in the primaries, which are hotly contested in both parties. And let the will of the people prevail. That way, we will elect good leaders, and hopefully, we will have good governance in our country. But we don't want to come each and every day in these particular forums and not coming up with solutions and just lamenting and praising our leaders. We have to look at all the sectors as they are. If the economy is not performing well, there are indicators, Mr. Mburu. The dollar is a good indicator that our economy is not doing well compared to other economies. So we look at all those indicators and say that the president needs to do something, and needs to do something urgently. Leaders in parliament, you are elected to legislate. Let us not wait for elections to make things right. Parliament and Senate have got a responsibility to make laws that will ease the burden of our people. And more so, we promulgated the 2010 Constitution. That Constitution goes all the way back to huko mashinani. Huko mashinani, the county government should be able to ease the burden of the locals at that particular local level. With that said, I think we have had a wonderful show. Thank you very much, Mr. Leo, for hosting us this evening. And for those who have not, been part of this discussion, we hope that you'll join us next time. And don't fail to subscribe on our channel or send us an email send us an email on how you'd love us to present your issues on this particular program. Also be part of it, because we are balanced, we are unbiased, and we let your opinion prevail in this particular show. This has been your Afrique Diaspora TV, and we hope that to see you probably in the course of the week. We start our active broadcast from Wednesday all through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We don't only discuss politics, we also discuss issues that affect you, issues that will help you. On this particular channel, we will unearth to you the ways of coming to abroad and getting employed in the easiest manner in Canada and here in the US. We will also tell you about the remote jobs that you can do in Siaya, where Leo comes from, in Busia, where Mr. G also comes from, or in Muranga, where Mr. Mburu apparently comes from, or Kirinyaga. So we will tell you how you can get to apply for these jobs, which are tailor-made for people in Africa and other parts of Asia. With that said, thank you very much once again. We love you guys in the comment section. You kept us going. Ahmed Khalid, asante sana for being part of the show. Calvin Skireta, thank you very much for being part of the show. You say that Kenya is a corrupt country. Yes, we agree with that Kenya is corrupt. We are talking about it. We want the media to highlight the issues of corruption more and more, and to do a lot of investigative journalism so that we unearth the corruptions happening in the public sector. Shiko Felicista, asante sana for being part of the show. The engagement was good, civil. I didn't see any matusi hapo. Tumefurahia sana for you guys who have been part of this wonderful broadcast. We have done 3 hours. That is good time. Remember, we didn't sleep, and hopefully Mburu will be later with the other side of Afrique Diaspora TV. So stay tuned to listen to the word of God later in the course of the day when Mburu has taken enough sleep. Otherwise, thank you very much, and